An unknown number of bodies showing evidence of torture. Mexican drug cartels are responsible for the murders.
Every year, hundreds of lives are lost in Mexico's brutal drug war as rival cartels battle for control over territory and influence. These powerful organizations not only dominate vast regions of the country, but also orchestrate political corruption, assassinations, and kidnappings.
Oh my God, they have guns. Jesus.
No. But who are these cartels, and why do they resort to such extreme measures? In this video, we will look into the lives of 3 individuals, known as TikTokers or social media influencers, who navigated their way through a dangerous world, only to meet a tragic end. Leslie Ann Pamela Montenegro. Leslie Ann Pamela Montenegro, popularly referred to as Nana Pelucas, was a Mexican social media pundit, humorist, and YouTuber who rose to fame for her witty and insightful observations on regional politics. She frequently made an appearance in her videos with spectacles and a large wig, giving her a unique persona that connected with her viewers. The 36-year-old journalist ran a satirical YouTube channel and an online news magazine, her El Sillon, meaning the couch, YouTube channel included commentary on a range of social concerns as well as interviews with local government representatives. She was such an exceptional character who was able to capture her audience and grow her social media platform with her uniqueness. Little did she know that this part will lead to the end of her life. She frequently tackled topics of organized crime and corruption by presenting her ideas in an interesting and thought-provoking way as a persona with spectacles and a large wig. Mexican viewers interested in entertainment, social issues, and local politics made up the majority of her viewership. Her willingness to tackle delicate subjects head-on and her gift for using comedy to demystify complicated subjects won her a lot of admirers. Additionally, she produced beauty videos as Pamika Montenegro. Her content resonated with those frustrated with the corruption and violence prevalent in regions like Acapulco, where drug cartels exert significant control. As a result, Montenegro's audience was a mix of regular citizens who appreciated her courage, as well as those involved in local political and criminal activities who saw her as a threat. This duality in her audience ultimately contributed to the threats she received and her subsequent murder. This whole incident can be traced back to Acapulco, which is a city in Mexico, a resort, and port on the Pacific Ocean, located in the state of Guerrero. We could say the whole murder case didn't just come as a sudden, as there were already threats which had come along the way. In the months leading up to her death, Montenegro began receiving threats from both cartel members and corrupt government officials. All of these threats could be traced back to her videos, which shows that both her presence online quite made a shift. These threats intensified after she allegedly revealed sensitive information about the activities of a criminal group in her videos. These threats were a response to her public denunciations of criminal activities and corruption, which were seen as a direct challenge to the power and influence of these groups. Specifically, she was accused of making anonymous online comments about a gang leader who had broken away from the independent cartel of Acapulco. The independent cartel of Acapulco, also known as the Cartel Independiente de Acapulco, CDA, is a criminal organization that emerged in the Mexican city of Acapulco. This cartel formed after the fragmentation of larger cartels, particularly the Beltran Leyva organization, which was once one of Mexico's most powerful drug cartels. After the death of Arturo Beltran Leyva in 2009, the Beltran Leyva organization splintered into smaller, competing groups. One of these groups was the Independent Cartel of Acapulco. CIDE primarily operates in the Acapulco region, which has become one of the most violent areas in Mexico due to intense competition among various criminal groups. The Acapulco Independent Cartel is engaged in a number of criminal operations such as drug trafficking, extortion, kidnapping, and murder. They have a history of using harsh methods to drive out competitors and keep control of their land. In addition, the group has been implicated in other violent occurrences in Acapulco, which has led to the city's high murder rate and reputation as one of the riskiest locations in Mexico. For a city which was known to be a tourist center, it became a bedrock of fear, torture, and crime for people. For Montenegro, her criticisms and the exposure of cartel-related activities were seen as a threat to these groups' operations, prompting them to act against her. Despite the threats, Montenegro continued to use her platform to speak out against these issues, making her a target for retribution. This group of cartels saw Montenegro as a threat and as a tool which could expose their operations to the public, as her subscribers skyrocketed in numbers, which meant they had to find a way to block her. However, in a surge to keep her quiet, on February 5, 2018, Montenegro was shot and killed by 2 assailants in a restaurant she owned in Acapulco. This attack was part of a broader pattern of violence against journalists and social media influencers in Mexico, where those who speak out against organized crime and corruption often face deadly reprisals. However, justice was going to prevail after her death, and the matter was taken up by the chief prosecutor, Xavier Olea. In no time, Olea created a team to investigate the death and was determined to find the source of Montenegro's death. In his handling of the case, Olea indicated that law enforcement agencies were investigating the murder and that they had identified suspects connected to the crime. He highlighted the challenges faced by authorities in combating cartel-related violence in Acapulco, a city plagued by high levels of crime and corruption. In a press conference, Olea revealed that the order of Montenegro's death was instructed by Javi Daniel Cervantes. Javi Daniel Cervantes Magno, also known as El Barbas, is a criminal leader associated with a splinter group that emerged from the Cartel Independiente de Acapulco, CIDA. After he was exposed, it was clear that this act was not just a murder, but a quest to keep the cartel practices under check, and no one ever shatters their operations. The gang also initially gave a hint at the crime scene. After the forensic team had examined the scene, they were able to put some puzzle together and trace the incident to the Acapulco cartel. The weapon used in Montenegro's murder was later found to have been involved in another crime that same night, adding to the evidence that this was a calculated act by organized crime figures linked to the independent cartel of Acapulco. The location, timing, and method of the attack suggested that it was a professionally orchestrated hit, likely intended to send a message to others who might challenge the criminal groups operating in the region. The crime scene of Leslie Ann Pamela Montenegro's murder was located inside her restaurant, situated in the Costa Azul neighborhood of Acapulco, a middle-class area known for its businesses and proximity to the popular tourist zone of Avenida Costera. The restaurant was only about 150 meters from the Costera and near the local Red Cross delegation. At about 7 p.m. in the evening, the restaurant was stormed with unknown gunmen who were masked. The shooting was precise, indicating a targeted assassination rather than a random act of violence. El Pirata de Culiacán. El Pirata de Culiacán, whose real name was Juan Luis Lagunas Rosales, was a young Mexican social media personality and internet sensation known for his videos that often featured him drinking heavily, flashing money, and making bold and sometimes offensive statements. Born in 1999 in Navolato, Sinaloa, Lagunas became famous on platforms like Facebook and Instagram for his wild lifestyle and carefree attitude, earning him a large following, particularly among younger audiences. El Pirata de Culiacán, the Pirate of Culiacán, was his moniker, which alluded to his brazen, defiant demeanor and his ties to the state of Sinaloa, which is well known for being associated with drug gangs. Despite his popularity on the internet, Lagunas faced criticism for encouraging risky habits that were frequently glamorized in his movies, such as binge drinking and irresponsible behavior. Lagunas gained particular notoriety when he posted a video in which he insulted Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, the leader of the powerful Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG. In the video, Lagunas drunkenly mocked and threatened El Mencho, a dangerous move given the cartel leader's reputation for brutality. His ascent to stardom is a tale of talent, strategic use of modern media, and authentic storytelling. El Pirata de Culiacan first garnered attention through his unique style and captivating performances, which struck a chord with audiences in his native Sinaloa and beyond. His music often delves into themes of rebellion, love, and the experiences of life in Sinaloa, resonating deeply with his listeners. His career was greatly aided by the emergence of social media and streaming services. Through these channels, he was able to connect with a far larger audience beyond Mexico's borders. El Pirata de Culiacan was able to develop a sizable fan base and achieve both national and worldwide notoriety by utilizing these resources. His notoriety was further enhanced by partnerships with other well-known artists and by greater media coverage. These collaborations helped him establish his reputation in the music business and exposed him to new audiences. At the age of 17, Lagunas already took over the internet, with over 1 million followers on Facebook and more than 300,000 followers on Instagram. He is said to have captivated the masses with his demeanor and clownish character. He started landing invitations to more and more parties, and soon fell into a life of excessive drinking. He would post videos on social media showing him chugging beer and bottles of whiskey, sometimes getting so drunk he would pass out. However, in a quest more popular and famous, he goes ahead to draw a beard on his appearance, just to appear older, and his arms were filled with tattoos which included a pirate and a tiger. As a young man, Lagunas enjoyed the attention and the fame he gained from the social media platforms. His Instagram feeds were filled with pictures of him posing alongside half-naked women and large guns. Despite his young age, Lagunas was seen drinking and believed he had the audacity to speak in whatever he pleases, since he was a man who had fans who praised him. Little did he know of the state of Kaloa, where the cartels rule, and no one can just act out in any manner. Finally, Lagunas was seen to cross the line in one of his videos as he was intoxicated in this scenario. Juan Luis Lagunas Rosales publicly criticized Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, Nestor Ibarra Gutierrez, well-known figure in the Mexican entertainment and music scene. Cervantes happens to be one of Mexico's most dangerous drug lords, according to U.S. government officials, the leader of the New Generation Cartel of Jalisco. Not knowing the kind of influence Gutierrez has, Lagunas may have restricted his boundary from crossing towards and attacking him. Oseguera Cervantes is the head of the CJNG, a powerful and violent criminal organization involved in a variety of illicit activities. The cartel, under his leadership, has expanded its influence significantly, engaging in drug trafficking, money laundering, and violent confrontations with rival groups. The CJNG is notorious for its production and distribution of drugs, particularly methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl. His arrest has been warranted by Mexican and American officials, who view him as a high-priority target. Due to the CJNG's influence on the drug trade and its use of force, Oseguera Cervantes is now a key player in the fight against organized crime. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes's criminal acts have resulted in significant consequences, as evidenced by the attention he has received from the public and media. His position as the head of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel highlights the difficulties law enforcement organizations encounter while trying to combat the intricate and perilous world of drug cartels. The clash between Lagunas and Ibarra stemmed from a combination of personal grievances and the broader dynamics of social media publicity. Lagunas, known for his provocative and attention-grabbing content, criticized Ibarra publicly. This criticism was not merely a personal vendetta, but part of a larger trend where social media personalities engage in public disputes to maintain relevance and visibility. However, this cartel team saw his direct approach as a challenge to their authority, and a tragic event was set to happen. The conflict between Oseguera Cervantes and Lagunas Rosales intensified swiftly. The criticism from Lagunas Rosales infuriated the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, which is notorious for its brutal methods and retaliation measures. Threats were made, and the argument became more threatening, which made the atmosphere uncomfortable. To ensure that Lagunas is taught a lesson and pay for the words of his mouth against Cervantes, a plot was casted for him. On a Monday night, while he and his friends partied at a bar in Jalisco, a group of armed individuals burst in and fired at Lagunas. The Attorney General of Jalisco, Raul Sanchez Jimenez, told Mexican media outlets. The teenager died, sustaining between 15 and 18 bullet wounds. The only way authorities managed to identify Lagunas was by his tattoos. On December 18, 2017, the attack was reportedly carried out by individuals associated with the CJNG. The violent nature of the attack and the context of the feud suggested that the murder was a direct consequence of his public comments and the ensuing conflict with the cartel. El Pirata de Culiacan's death brought attention to the risky relationship that exists in Mexico between criminal groups and social media celebrities. Laguna's death comes during a year that is on track to become the bloodiest on record in Mexico. It was recorded in the first 10 months of 2017 that there were 20,878 reported murders nationwide, whereby 69% happens on a daily basis. The death of Lagunas emphasized the grave dangers of inciting strong criminal organizations and the potential for deadly fallout. As the teenager's celebrity rose, activists criticized the musicians, bands, and promoters who featured him drinking in music videos. The attention only encouraged his dangerous behavior and promoted the alcoholism of a minor, according to their words. They, however, called for accountability and responsibility in the musical world, urging artists to beware of the impact they have on the young minds. Laguna's story was one which threw more light on the impact of social media and its capacity to build an individual's fame even in the most unconventional way, with the use of platforms such as Instagram and YouTube. The death of Lagunas displayed a quest for stronger security and fight against the violence and bloodshed which plagues Mexico, where actions of cartels leads to increased murder rates. Lagunas Rosales' death drew considerable media attention and was widely reported due to his public profile and the dramatic nature of the events leading to his murder. The incident served as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of public disputes involving organized crime. La Flaca. La Flaca is a nickname associated with Juliana, a prominent figure in the realm of organized crime. She has gained attention due to her connections with the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, one of Mexico's most powerful and violent criminal organizations. Juliana, known by the nickname La Flaca, is recognized for her involvement with the CJNG, led by the notorious criminal Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, also known as El Mencho. Her association with the cartel has made her a notable figure in media reports concerning organized crime. The CJNG is known for its involvement in drug trafficking, money laundering, and violent confrontations with rival groups. La Flaca gained popularity on 5 January 2015, when a picture of herself posing with a firearm was posted, which went viral on social media, especially on TikTok. What was striking about the picture was the fact that a young lady could look so brave without being timid, holding a firearm. As a member of the cartel, she fought against rival oppositions, risking her life in a drug war. However, her story took a turnaround when she was found dead, dismembered and tortured, along with 2 other members of her faction. The post identified her as a Gulf Cartel member based out of Rio Bravo. As a foot soldier, she was responsible for fighting off cells of Los Metros, a rival faction of Los Ciclones, a Gulf Cartel subgroup she belonged to. Juliana's demise highlights the broader issues within the CJNG and the extent to which violent conflicts can impact individuals associated with powerful criminal organizations. Her death, like many in the world of organized crime, was a result of the perilous and often violent environment in which these criminal entities operate. An anonymous online user posted a picture of Juliana to Valor por Tamaulipas, a citizen journalist page that posts organized crime leaks and security updates. This led to Juliana becoming well known on social media. Her photos were posted on Twitter and Facebook. The photo showed her as a hit woman for the Gulf Cartel, based in Rio Bravo, Tamaulipas. She was grinning and posing with a gun and bulletproof vest for the camera. She had a golden necklace on and was wearing sunglasses that she was resting on her head. The image's backdrop sparked debate about the killers hired by cartels and their ostensibly low-income lifestyle, which ran counter to the idea that Mexican organized crime figures lead opulent lives. Investigators believe that the leak was most likely made by a member of Los Metros, a Gulf Cartel unit that Niño supposedly belonged to, but which was at odds with Los Ciclones. These factions had begun fighting each other in January 2015. They believed this was done to undermine Los Ciclones and encourage further member leaks on social media. Early in 2015, Gulf Cartel members posted details about their competitors on social media to make them visible to the public, in the hopes that rival gangsters would assassinate them or security forces would arrest them. Inside an ice cooler, Mexican officials in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, found the mutilated remains of Juliana on April 13, 2015. The cooler was left in a parking lot in Soriana. Her remaining remains were discovered within plastic bags. The murderers also left a headless man and another mutilated female corpse at the scene. Investigators believe that Los Ciclones members were among the 2 individuals who were slain with Juliana. There were indications of torture on the remains, which were probably done to get information about their illegal activity. After that, it was thought that they had been dismembered and shot in the head. Her remains were identified by investigators because of a unique tattoo on her forearm that bore her surname, Juliana. She was thought to be in her early 20s or late teens. Los Metros was the first to release images of the mutilated bodies on Twitter. The images were meant to serve as a cautionary tale for Juliana's group. Before being dismembered, Juliana was seen in one of the photos being thrashed on the ground with the other 2 victims. Her remains were seen inside the cooler in a follow-up picture. Los Metros placed a written threat against Los Ciclones next to the remains. Everyone who supports Los Ciclones will suffer this fate. The message said, "Keep sending these assholes." Additionally, the letter warned Los Ciclones that they would be killing more individuals in their territory and chastised them for utilizing female foot soldiers. An individual known only as 65 from Los Metros signed the statement. Violence, extortion, and drug trafficking are major activities of Mexican cartels such as the Sinaloa Cartel and the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG. Their actions have caused unrest in the community, which has resulted in widespread fear, corruption, and fatalities. The power of the cartels reaches into law enforcement and politics, where corruption threatens the integrity of the legal system. The widespread criminal activity has had a negative impact on Mexican society, creating an atmosphere of distrust and insecurity. While violence and corruption continue to be major concerns to the stability of the country, the government's efforts to combat the cartels have been greeted with difficulties. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. See you next time.